Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. Alright, let's address the elephant in the room. I know it's not Halloween. Alright, that's long past. But when it came to my Halloween videos, I ran out of time and I couldn't upload everything I wanted to. So that's why I'm uploading them past Halloween. But if you stop and look at it like this, at some point in time, it's gonna be Halloween time again, October. So somebody eventually will stumble upon my videos and watch it around Halloween time. So yeah, and I'm here today to talk to you about Goosebumps, Say Cheese and Die. This is a very creepy episode. It's one of my favorites. I believe it happened in season 1. Now there is a sequel that happened, I believe, in season 2. The sequel is more comedic than the first one. The first one is creepy. And I think there's a series of Say Cheese and Die. I'm not sure how many. But with the second episode, they recast everybody, and I mean everybody, and they left Doug/Bird out of it, which is odd. And you just don't have the same feel as you do when you watch the second one because everybody's been recast, everybody's personality is different, and it's a little bit more comedic and stuff. It's a little creepy, but not as creepy as the first. The first is very spine tingling and stuff. Even the cover of the book is creepy. They duplicated the cover of the book for the episode, and they did a really not so great job. Like, it's interesting, it's creepy, but they could have used better skeletons. They just used little cartoony skeletons, but it's creepy. But they could. I can't give that a pass. But Say Cheese and Die is what introduced me to Ryan Gosling. It was the first time I ever saw him on anything. And then the second thing I saw him in was Young Hercules. And so, like, in this episode, it's a group of kids. And I love the locations that they use. The abandoned, like, warehouse looking thing and all this other stuff. Like, it's great locations. I love Goosebumps for their locations, man. So it's a group of kids. It's 2 guys and a girl. Greg is the main protagonist, his best friend Doug, who they call Bird, and then their friend Sherry. And so it's just a group of kids, and they're spying on a man at an abandoned factory. The man name is Spider. He's this creepy man who slinks around. He has long whitish gray hair, and he wears these black goggles. He looks like Dr. Octopus from the Ultimate Spider-Man comic books and stuff. And he wears this dark trench coat, and whenever he runs so, like, bizarre. He never really comes out during the day. He just slinks around at night. And the kids, you know, they have all these, like, urban legends about him. Like, does he eat bats, cats, or rats? Because each of the kids have heard different things. And some people think he sleeps there. So they sneak into, like, you know, his warehouse, which turns out to be a laboratory, and it's just like this creepy place with all these weird, like, gadgets and stuff. And so when the kids are just, like, goofing around, one of them bumps into, like, the dresser cabinet type thing, and it pops open a camera. Now the camera, I believe in the books, is just like a regular camera, but for the show they wanted to, like, you know, give it that visual appeal to it, that creepy otherworldly appeal. It looks like a giant toaster, like a purplish toaster and everything, with these weird spiky horny type things, like a bat wings on it. And so Greg realizes, oh, this is a camera. And so Bird wants him to take his picture. He's standing on the steps and he's juggling and stuff. And so when he takes the picture, as soon as Greg goes to look at it, all of a sudden Bird falls down and collapses on the floor. And then when Greg shows him, like, oh no, wait. So then after that, Spider comes back. And so the kids, they get spooked and they hightail it on out of there as he's trying to, like, capture them and stuff. When they run out, they realize something. Greg still has the camera in his hands. And so he shows Bird the picture, but it's weird. He took the picture before Bird fell, but the picture is shown to show Bird falling. He doesn't understand how that could be. And so, like, he's just weirded out by that. So, in a way, he goes back home at some point, and his dad got a brand new car. And so his brother is kind of like this, like, dopey headed brother. Think of Eric from Boy Meets World in like the first season or so, when he used to act like that, and a little bit the later seasons. And so his brother wants him to take his picture next to the car. He does that. But Greg does not want to show him what happened in the picture. He said it's a long process and it hasn't developed yet. This is back in the Polaroid days when you just take a picture and then within a few seconds you wiggle, like, the photo, and it appears. And so, yeah, man, they don't do stuff like that no more. Everything's digital now, or film, but mostly just digital. And so he didn't want to show him the picture of his brother standing next to the car, but now the car is wrecked. He is spooked by this. So when he's having dinner with, like, his family and stuff like that, his dad's excited about the new car. And he's all like, let's, like, take a ride. Greg, of course, doesn't want to do this. He's all like, maybe you should just take it back or something. Like, Greg is worried. Greg is now starting to suspect that the camera might just, like, bring things to life. It predicts the future, but a terrible future. And so, like, they hop in the car anyway. And as they're driving, Greg has the photo and he wants to show it to his parents, but it flies out the window. Then all of a sudden, they're almost in a car wreck. Greg has a dream. The dream is pretty creepy. They're having a barbecue, and this is the cover of the book. The family's all there. They're having fun. It's a joyous time until he takes a picture of the family with the camera. And then, so next thing you know, they turn into skeletons and everything. So I love how they duplicated the cover of the book. But the cover of the book looks a little bit more creepier because the skeletons is drawn better. Anyway, so he talks to Bird and he tells Bird, like, I think this camera predicts the evil future and stuff like that. Bird does not want to believe him. And he's just kind of like, this camera is weird, man. There's no way to load the film. There's no way to load batteries. Like, how does this thing work? And so all of a sudden, they get their bullies and everything show up. And, classic R.L. Stine with bullies. And the bullies try to take the camera from them. They'll, like, take our picture. Greg, even though he doesn't like the bullies, he doesn't want them to get hurt by the camera. Him and Bird, Bird, like, sasses one of the bullies. And then they grab the camera and they take off running. They jump over a fence. The fence just happened to be Sherry's fence in her yard. And Sherry's like, take my picture. And Greg doesn't want to, but she convinces him to do it anyway. And like a fool, he does it anyway. When he takes her picture next to a tree, all of a sudden, she's invisible and stuff in the picture. She's pissed. She's all like, you totally missed me. He's all like, no, there's the tree and everything. Then her brother just happens to show up in her backyard and he's all like, Dad's been in a car wreck. The picture came true, but it didn't come true for his brother. It came true for the car because only the car was wrecked. His father's has a boot on his leg and everything, and he was lucky to come out of that alive. Next thing you know, later on that night, some cops show up. Sherry has disappeared for an entire day. Her parents don't know where she's at. Greg, he suspects it was the camera, but he can't tell them that. But he accidentally blurts a little bit out. They suspect he has something to do with this. He goes to Bird like the next day and stuff. And it's like, how is this camera predicting the future? Why is it exactly showing terrible things happening? Bird doesn't want to hear none of this and like, just throw the camera away. And he's like, I can't. I give back the spider and everything. Well, Bird chickens out and doesn't want to go. Some friend he is, you know what I'm saying? And so Greg in anger just rips up the photo. And so he heads to Spider's place later on that night. When he's there, Sherry shows up and she's all like, it was the weirdest thing. One day I was here and all of a sudden I wasn't, and then I reappeared again. And when Greg finds out, it was around the time he ripped up the picture. That's how you break the curse. At least for the first episode. The second episode is completely different. And they changed the rules of that. So anyways, They had to stay creative because you just can't just rip it up because curse is broken. So Bird told Sherry where Greg was gonna be at. They sneak back in, and here comes Spider. And Spider has some weird dialogue. He's all like, the curse of the camera, blah blah blah, and it predicts bad stuff. I created the camera, that's why I hid it until you dumb kids came in and found the camera. So they're like, all right, well, you got your camera, time to leave. You're like, oh no, you can't leave now. Now that you know the secret of the camera. So he chases after them. Who the heck is calling me? Anyway, he chases after them, and so like um he grabs that of Greg. So Sherry grabs the camera and takes Spider's picture. Ugh, stupid answer machine. Anyway, as soon as like she takes this picture, Spider just evaporates into like that of the camera. He gets sucked in there, and he's literally sucked into the camera. They think it's weird, freaked out, but they don't care as long as they don't have to have the camera no more, and they hightail it. Later on, the bullies show up to Spider's place, and they play around with the camera. And when they take a picture of one of the bullies, Spider reappears like from behind. Somehow he got freed from the camera. And this is creepy. Could you imagine this happening in real life? You just find a camera, you take a picture, and all of a sudden it could kill you. And everything. And it's so creepy. Like, that's why I love Goosebumps. It's the creep factor to it. That wasn't that spooky. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.